What's up, guys? So, a few weeks ago, I went out and I bought the new 2025 Andor U-wing, and I love the model. I think it's a good downscale of the original U-wing model that came out for Rogue One a few years ago, quite a few years ago. But I found a really nice modification or rebuild, rather. And well, recently I went out, bought all the parts, and so now I'm going to put it all together. All right, so the first chunk I got from Pick a Brick online on lego.com. And well, it got most of the parts. I think you can order all of them directly from lego.com, but it's cheaper. Rather, it's faster to get a couple of the pieces from Bricklink, just another seller. But all these parts I ordered. Most of them are for the U-wing. But of course, there's a couple pieces I got just for my personal collection to replace old pieces I used. And of course, there were some pieces I pulled out of my collection just to cut costs. But here's a quick overview of kind of what I got. Nothing too crazy, mostly tiles, plates, and a few Technic pieces for the engines. But I have another order coming in, and that should finish it all off for that modification. On the instructions, I don't remember the builder. I'll take a look and let y'all know. I'll link them down in the comments, down in the description and the first comment down below. But I thought it was a pretty solid model. There's a few things I will modify myself, but once I get into the build and show you what it looks like, I'll talk about. But the build on rebrickable was like $8 for the instructions, and I think total, if you include the set, probably comes around $150 with the set, the extra pieces needed, and the instructions. So not crazy amount, but still a chunk of change for those of you interested. Alrighty, so here in front of us we have the newly completed MOC. So a reiteration, the builder is Quarries Workshop over on rebrickable. And already I've made a couple minor adjustments to his model, just to my liking, and I am thoroughly impressed with quite a few things that I'll get into a little bit later. A few of those being the doors, just the main hull area, the cockpit, and just some of the attention to detail has really impressed me with this model. Of course, I want to make a few modifications that I'll discuss here in a little bit, but overall, I am really impressed with this model. It's generally stable with a few minor quirks, and it just looks so much better than the original Lego model. But let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to point out about this model that I really like is the engines. He really did a good job at beefing it up compared to the Lego model, and I think it looks so clean. One thing I did modify here is this little crossbeam here. In canon, in the shows, right, there's a black background. So I added a little Technic disc. It's like a 3x3 little circle that fits right in there. And to account for that, I had to put in a little black clip and then this little crossbar. In canon, it's a little T. On the top, it's upside down, right? It should have this little bar here. And that's kind of what he did, just using the pieces from the original Lego set. But I just dug up these 3 pieces for each of these parts right out of my own collection. And I think it looks pretty good, minus the fact that they stick out a little bit. But I like it, and so I'm going to stick with it. That's the only major modification I've made as of right now. There's a couple more I do want to make regarding this canopy. It's just wrong. It's from the Lego set, and so I get that. But there's some Speed Champions canopies that would look really good there. But that's not something I have been able to source or have the time to tackle right now. One thing that's really cool is just like the building techniques. I should have dusted off, but just to get this angle, he used these hinge plates, right, in a few places, and it just snaps together so smoothly. There's a little bit of a gap here at the front, but it just looks so clean. And I mentioned before the hole I was really impressed with. So I'll pull this cap up. This part's really fragile. It's not terrible if you're not knocking it around or playing with it too hard. But it is a little fragile. That is one thing that I think the builder could not have avoided with the detail that he included. But here we go for the little hole. You know, it's got the same glass window, got the pilot seat. There should technically be two. That's an adjustment I may try to tackle, but I do understand that with the scale and the size and the parts, that may be easier said than done, per se. But this interior hole right down there, hopefully you can see it. Lighting's not great, but it is just so clean. You can fit 4 people down there now, including, you know, the figures it comes with in the set, like Cassian and whatnot, right, in each of those seats, and it just looks so good. But you can throw this thing back on the cap. You can either put in Andor up here, right? That's probably where he'd normally be, but it just looks so good. One thing I'm also impressed with is just this little back area. It just looks clean. He got some good angles, and just the attention to detail is just phenomenal. Now back to the hole. I'll see if I can do this one-handed, but it just looks so good on the bottom. I think I broke something, but these doors, oh, there it goes. They slide, and I love that, but it's also pretty dang fragile. But this is more accurate to what the movie and the show shows, and so I love that. But they are prone to getting pushed in and broken, as they're kind of just sitting on these rails. But it's so good. If you're not playing around or messing with them too much, I think it's great. And then, of course, there's the back side, right? Overall, I love this model. I think it was worth the money I dumped into it, both for the parts and for the instructions, and I would give this build a generous 8 out of 10, right? There's a few little flaws, things that I would change personally and will hopefully in the future, but I just am in love with his model. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And go and give this builder some support. I'm sure he has other great builds. I'll link his rebrickable down below in the description. But yeah, hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I'll hear from you soon.